Get any luck? Ta-da! Look at that. She sort of got the crusties. Oh! Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the old Brokeswagon. I'm a little optimistic this time because, well, I'm going to go ahead and explain the symptoms to you, and then we'll go ahead and get into tearing this thing down. But a little while ago, when I first started this thing up in the morning, I remember hearing, a little bit of a tit-tit-tit-tit-tit-tit, which is not unusual for diesels to kind of make a little bit of racket when they're just cold or something like that. But this was just starting to get to be the point where it was sounding a lot like this. I'm just going to take this little wood screw here and just kind of go like this. And it only do that for about like a minute or two, and then as it warmed up, it got better and better. And if you look here in this video, after I drop the RPMs from about 1 and it's idling, it starts sputtering. After a while, I took my mechanic stethoscope here, put this end up to my ear, and I was poking around in here, and I figured it was going to be EGR related. I figured it was just some gases that were going bypassing here, in this little collar or something. Standard stuff. But it wasn't an exhaust leak. As I started poking around a little bit, I got here, and it was cold, 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 warmer, 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 fire, fire. Right here is where I traced that noise down to. And so I believe we have gunk getting into one of these injectors here, and I filmed this part in the VCDS, so check this out. To my understanding, that number 2, since the numbers are so high through the forums that I was looking at, that number 1 was compensating for it, so the number 1's deviation values would lower because number 2 was asking for more fuel, which tells me this was probably blocked up a little bit with some stuff. Now, the goal is today is to take this stuff loose and just kind of take this off, take everything out, and then get this injector out, and we're just going to clean it and see if that makes any difference. I'm pretty sure that it's time that these get cleaned, so I did order some gaskets. So these came in loose leaf in the package, and then I got 4 of these just in case anything happens. You try and tighten it down, it didn't get down all the way or something. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and put that on this thing. I'm gonna get my little washer, parts washer, and we're gonna wash those injector nozzles and see if this works. So you might be wondering why exactly I'm taking a ratchet strap to the injectors. Well, it's definitely a cheaper and faster alternative to either the $50 maybe kit, the maybe it'll fit or maybe it won't kit, or the super duper expensive kit that costs as much as new injectors. Yes, that expensive. We're trying to save money, not spend more of it. And with maximum effort, this seems to do the trick. Alright, so I didn't really get this bit on camera, but I finally got number 2 out. I had to use a bunch of, well, not really a bunch, but just a couple squirts of Aerocroil or whatever, Panther P. And it finally came out. It kind of flew a little bit, but it didn't seem to land on anything bad or do anything bad. So we're good in that regard. But I think what ended up happening was right here, I think right there, it kind of froze to the grommet that's down in here into the intake. And so getting a little bit of coil in there loosened that up a bit. So I think we're going to be pretty good. I probably should have used diesel, but check out the condition of that injector. That's she sort of got the crusties. So I think this was the issue. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 1. Not as crusty, if you can believe that. So that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, it'd probably be a good idea to go through those other 2 later. But let's go ahead and put this right back. It's home for now. We'll just keep it there. We'll get a paper towel or something, cover that up. I think I'm going to vacuum that too, just to make sure nothing bad happens to it. But let's go ahead and put this on the bench. Alright, so we have this down here. I should probably back this out. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and just give you guys a look. So it's down here. I got a nice little cloth just to make sure nothing's gonna get too creased or anything. Little plastic sensors hanging out here, so it's not getting crushed. Just want to make sure I make that clear. Let's go ahead and focus in on this guy here. So one of the things that I'm really curious about is all these little crusties up here, all this carbon buildup. That is very interesting to me. Now, normally I wouldn't be touching all over that and being, you know, a little careless. Huh, I guess it's a little bit bigger than 15. And this is where things start getting a little more interesting. I found out the hard way these aren't the typical type of injectors you'll find in some of the previous years that can accept regular sockets. Instead, these are some kind of funky 8-sided nightmare that no regular socket will really even fit, not even a splined one. I even tried going to a special store to get a special socket, and it did nothing more than shave another corner off of the injector and make them just a little bit shorter. So I even tried my hand at trying to make something relatively close that would work, and that was also a bust. I need this ride back up and running, and sooner than later. So tool or no tool, I need to get these clean. So instead, I opted to stick these directly into the tank, and let's see if the little micro bubbles can clean them right out. I'm putting my fingers in a little bit of diesel here just to keep it from flash rusting. I'm gonna let that just kind of hang out in this little bag here. All right, here's the one for cylinder number 1. Here's a before. And we'll just put it in there like that. Crank that up. All right, so we're at our first pass here. See where we're at. Not bad, not bad at all. Give it a little wiggle. Wipe off here. Not terrible, not terrible. Definitely put it in there for a little bit longer. It's amazing though that it is actually changing the color of this. So I'll just put it in there the other direction. There we go. And let's do it again. All right, so round 2 just finished up here. Let's take a look at what we got. Hey, that came off now. Yay. All right, and let's dry this off a little bit here. All right. See, that's what she looks like. I'd say it's not too bad, actually. And like I said, so I'm gonna let these sit in some diesel fuel there, and then we'll revisit this tomorrow. We'll install them, see if they work. Here's to hoping. So after keeping the injector soaking in diesel all night to prevent anything like debris or anything from solidifying, we got some new O-rings and crush gaskets on, but I learned the very hard way that you never reuse these bolts. Just watch. Newton meters, or 23 Newton meters, whichever one, is like 16, 17 inch-pounds, or foot-pounds, and 192 inch-pounds. So let's go ahead and tighten that down. Boy, that seems like it's over tight. I want to make sure. God, that stinks. Okay, well, it's working. That one's tight. I'm getting real skeptical about that. Oh, yep. I figured that was coming. Son of a... I'm gonna see how far that's busted down in there. I don't have any hope in that's gonna be anything I can get to today. Yep, that's way down in there. All right, well, I guess this has to come off. All of this now has to come off. All right, stay tuned. So, I was actually quite ready to just throw in the towel on this particular project today, but, you know, I had some time to think, and, you know, it wouldn't do anybody any good. It's not going to do me any good. I'm not going to be happy if I just walk away from the whole project and just be done with it and throw my hands up in the air. So quitting is really not an option for me at this point, because I just want to do this. And even if it's not done 100% right, at least I didn't quit, you know? So that's where we're at with that. The unfortunate part is that we gotta go back and do this part all over again. There we go. Which I'm not too pleased about, but such is life, right? I think I figured out what happened. So my bets are that with the other one, there was oil that got down beneath this. Somehow, you know, it probably just dripped down, and it was creating like a hydraulic tension, and it just locked it, and it just kept tightening and trying to compress oil, but oil doesn't compress, and so it ended up just snapping this. That's probably what ended up happening. Hopefully extraction won't go too badly, but one time will only tell. Alright, so welcome back. It's another day. It's been a few days, as a matter of fact. Kind of walked away from this and ordered up the parts that I needed and bolt extractors and the whole 9 yards. But I decided to put some plastic wrap over here just in case, just to keep everything nice and fresh as it can be. But anyway, now the thing is we're going to take all these off, take all this stuff off, and we're going to take this valve cover gasket off, or valve cover off of here, and then I should be getting the valve cover gaskets today, so we should be good as far as that's concerned. And who knows, maybe it's a little bit of preventative maintenance at the same time, keep it from leaking. But all right, here we go. Alright, so here's our collection of parts. We have one fuel rail and a whole bunch of fuel inputs to the fuel injectors. So almost the entire fueling system has to come out in order to get this out. But anyway, this is actually surprisingly decent news, because the bolt is broken right there. It's tough to see, but you know, I'm kind of glad we got in here anyway, because look at that. It's got filth all in there, and I'm not too happy about all that, and whatever the heck that thing is. It probably came in there afterwards, but it's no big deal. I'm just saying I'm kind of a stickler for clean in that regard. So the plan of attack now is to kind of clean this up best I can in here, and then wrap it up with plastic and just kind of go crazy as far as securing all of this so that shavings don't get down in here and cause all kinds of havoc. Because we have really good, look at this, look at these lobes. Look at that lobe. They almost look new. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, enough ogling. Okay, so let's go ahead and break out the Bosch kit, and I think this is the size. It says 7/64 I kind of decided on, so I mean it kind of fits in there. Alright, here goes nothing. To say I'm nervous is an understatement. Like it dances across the thing. I can't even get a hold of it. Is it spinning? It is spinning. Okay, so it's actually spinning down in there. I've never seen such a thing. I wonder. Maybe this will save the day. Alright, I want you guys to get the same little tingles I'm getting. Because look at that. It's just about out. So I just took the flathead. Whoa. Got in there best I could and kind of spun it without much fuss and fight. But I think, guys, this is going to be the end of the road for this little guy terrorizing me like it's been. Let's get like a little needle nose. Get in there and spin it out. Bastard. And there she blows. Look at that. Got it out. Well, just because the Bosch kit kind of came in handy and did do a little bit of drilling there, I'm gonna say I give it a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect because I wish it had reverse bits on it, but you know what? It saved my bacon. And thank goodness. Let's go ahead and get this out of here before anything drops out. Alright guys, well, I'm in a better mood. Yay! Before we get too ahead of ourselves though, I will go ahead and vacuum that out. Now that we've got that pesky bolt out of the way, while we're waiting on the parts to arrive, let's go ahead and get the valve cover clean and prepped. But first, we're going to remove these grommets. A simple socket and a hammer with soft blows seems to do the trick. I'm sure you could use a piece of wood to elevate the part, but for this, I'm going to use some spare rubber tire chocks to minimize any shock to the plastic. It is kind of old. Alright, well today is the final day. I got to start off in the morning. I had to quit yesterday because my parts didn't come in until like 5, quitting time, and I had a bunch of other stuff to do, editing and whatever else. But anyway, welcome again to a new day. It's time to get this thing wrapped up. We got this all cleaned up. Kinda. I guess I missed a spot, but whatever, I'm not too worried about that. But back here was a whole bunch of leaking going on, and I wanted that to not be the case. So let's go ahead and stick the new grommets in there, and I think that's where that smell was coming from. There was kind of a weird like crankcase odor coming from somewhere, and I think this might have been it. So every once in a while, it wouldn't happen a lot, just once in a blue moon, and that was probably had something to do with it. So this will be nice and sealed tight and running good, I hope. Fingers crossed. So with our brand new valve cover gasket and grommets, new bolts, really needed a set of those, and a new set of crush washers and O-rings, we're now finally just a few steps closer to getting this thing running. First, we'll finish up this valve cover, making sure everything is seated nicely, and again, being firm but gentle to keep the plastic intact. Then we'll move on to the important part, cleaning out all that debris that we saw earlier. Now I'm using a flathead screwdriver and carefully and gently using a paper towel to make sure that nothing gets scraped up, and we're doing a pretty good job cleaning those injector ports. And here's the results. Now to install the head cover, and believe it or not, there is a torque sequence for this, so check it out. You might want to pause here. And now we're at the home stretch, and since I already used the ultrasonic machine to clean these last two injectors, all that's left is to put on some new seals and get these bad boys installed. We are almost there, so we're going to go ahead and secure our freshly cleaned injectors with these brackets, install the new hardware with some blue Loctite, and then we'll go ahead and tidy up the rest of the fuel system and all of its connectors. Alright, well, we're at a point now where I'm saying, well, we got to give it a shot. I think everything's plugged in the way it should be, and we'll go ahead and try to start this thing. Oh, maybe except for this. I missed that one. All right, we'll just do hand tight for right now. But what I'm going to do is just kind of keep cranking the key over to get the system to bleed a little bit, and hopefully that'll make some kind of difference. I'm not sure that priming the system's really going to do much, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. I hear noises. We'll do it 3 times, why not? Here's to hoping. Give it a minute. Definitely air in the system. Woo! Look at that. And it's smooth too. Wow. Awesome. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. All right, so we have, oh, you know what? I bet you I can screen record this. Hold on. Okay, so I should be screen recording this now, but what I'm gonna do is select all of our injection quality deviation cylinders here. Well, let's just see what happens when we first start it here. See what our deviation values are. Whoa, that's cool. Wow, those numbers are not bad. I guess 3 and 4 are a little kind of silly, but they're not that bad. And they're going right back down to 0. Wow. Not bad. You know what? I'm going to call that fixed. Alright, so I've let this thing run for about 2 minutes. That's what the manual says to let it do. To just see if anything's going to leak, and I see no leakages whatsoever. So I think we're good in that regard. Now it's just time for a test drive. Alright, so I am here to tell you this thing drives now like it's got some guts. I mean, it's really smooth. I can't even describe it. It drives better than the day I got it. Now, and that's not a placebo effect. That's a real thing. I mean, I wish I was lying about it, but I am absolutely not. Just to show you, I'll just plant the throttle all the way down. Here we go. Really smooth accelerating. It doesn't, that's my laptop. But what would end up happening before was I would accelerate and it'd be kind of like, you know what I mean? And kind of have that, not like a tinging or a rattling or anything, just kind of like a diesel chunkiness that kind of went along with it. So let's go ahead and take this thing up to freeway speeds and see where we're at. I wanna be able to go on the entrance and just kind of lay into the throttle and see what it'll do. 0 to 60. All right, full speed. Good grief. Woo. Good grief. That's pulling. Pulled my laptop all the way back. Woo, man, that's got some guts. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. I'm going about 58, 60, somewhere in there. So I'm actually just kind of cruising along, and I'm not gonna go like 70 or anything like that just yet. But check that out, 43 miles to the gallon on a straight stretch, not really doing anything too crazy. Trying to keep the light out of here just so you can see it. About 40, 50 miles to the gallon. So it looks like it's actually doing a little bit better. I used to get like upper 30s and didn't really even touch the 50s on flat straight roads like this, or even 60s for that matter. So pretty cool, pretty good stuff. Let's go ahead and just go 65 like everybody else here. And just sit there. Nice flat straight piece of stretch. Really good mileage consumption, so I think we're doing really awesome here. Uh-oh. Well, I didn't make a good outro, so this voiceover will have to suffice. But if you made it all the way up to this point, thank you very much for watching. What's playing now is a disclaimer, and I'll list it as a B video. That way if I get any comments, I'll just leave you with that link. Well, I would certainly appreciate your like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time we fix something else. Bye-bye. But I got it on my own. I've been working days and nights instead of staying in my zone. And you say you're all alone, all you do is bitch and moan. All your lazy asses got no chances, now you stay at home. This is the stuff I'm using. I didn't use a whole lot of it. It makes 9 gallons, so it's concentrated, removes dirt, varnish, and other residue, safe for all metal, including carburetors and other engine parts. And, well, that's the back of it. So, there you go.